The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said, "From the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no human being must separate." The Gospel of the Lord. Through the words of the Gospel, may our sins be wiped. You may have a seat. So first of all, Spencer and Alyssa, it's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting us to this great event where we will witness the great miracle of the two of you walking out of here as one. And God has truly called you to this sacrament. It's no accident that you're here. In our marriage preparation, you actually even told me that this is a God instance, how he brought you together. Never would have thought, as I was talking to Spencer, that at that 30th birthday party that they would meet. But God knew. He actually knows every page of our life, every moment of our life before we are even born. In Psalm 139, it says, "In the secret of darkness, in my mother's womb, you knit me together, you formed me, and you knew me before I was even thought of." But God thought of you. And he knew that he would bring you together at this time. And he has a plan for your life, and he has a plan for your marriage. The readings that you chose describe the great mystery and the beauty of this sacrament of holy matrimony. We see how God created man and woman, and that the two are designed to come together and be joined as one. And man and woman made in the image and likeness of God. Man couldn't be alone. God knew that this was not going to be good, so he made him a suitable partner. And Alyssa, you are that suitable partner for Spencer. This is a beautiful image of God, how he created woman even out of the side of man. That's kind of symbolic that, Spencer, you're going to have to take her to her side and protect her and to guard her and to treat that as a precious piece of really precious gold and silver, finer than anything that you could have on this earth. He's given you this gift. And this is why a man leaves his mother and the two become one, and clings. When he says clings to his wife, that means that there's nothing going to be more important in this world than the treasure that God has given you each. Marriage is a vocation, just like God has a plan for each one of our lives, and we call that a vocation. And that changes at different times in our lives. And we have to listen to what God is actually calling us to. But he is truly calling us, and he's called you two together because he has a plan that's far greater than your attraction to each other. He has a plan he's called you together for a plan of salvation for each of you, because your goal is to get each other to heaven. And then if God is willing to be his will to bring children into your life, then you will have the responsibility of bringing your children to heaven. And then by the love that you show in your family, you are an outward sign of the church, and you are called to bring other souls to heaven. So it's a pretty big plan that all of us work in God's plan of salvation. Whether you're single or married, God has a plan, and he wants you where you are because he wants to bring souls to heaven through your lives. In God's plan throughout the Bible, through Genesis to Jesus, and Jesus to Revelation, marriage plays a central role in the unfolding of this mystery of salvation. As we see in the book of Genesis, we just saw the institution of marriage. And the Bible begins again with Jesus at the wedding feast of Cana, blessing marriage. And then it ends in the book of Revelation and the wedding feast of the Lamb, which is the marriage of Christ and his church. God wants to marry each one of us. The wedding feast of the Lamb ends with the Spirit and the bride come together, and he says, "Come, receive the gift of life-giving water." And this is what we all hope to hear when we depart from this world. By saying yes to this call today, that means you are about to go to places where you have no idea. I love the hymn, The Summons, and I think God, this is a calling that he calls to each one of us. He's summoning all of us. And he says, "Will you go where you don't know if I but call your name? Will you leave yourself behind and never be the same? Will you quell the fear inside? Will you kiss the leper clean and do such as this unseen if I but call your name?" And yes, you said, "Lord, your summons echoes true. When you but call my name, I will come and follow you, and I will never be the same." You will never be the same. And God is going to take you to places that you have no idea where it's going to go, where this marriage is going to go. But it's going to be an exciting adventure. But you must take Jesus with you. You must stay attached to the vine, because without him, you will not be able to accomplish anything. Your psalm that you chose today encourages you to do this. As we heard, he wants to be your help. He wants to be your shield, and his merciful love will be poured out upon you in this marriage. That's what you are asking for. You're asking for this merciful love to be poured out upon you. God is always there giving us his free grace, wanting to bestow on all of us that gift, that wonderful gift. And he wants to fill your hearts, in the psalm says, with joy and full of the goodness of the Lord. By coming to this altar and uniting yourselves to each other in the church under this huge cross, you see right there, this is love. It is totally sacrificial. It is dying to ourselves to love the other person. It is willing the good of the other. It is putting yourself last, honestly. Putting God first, then your spouse, and then he will bless you and show you how to love, because love is that sacrifice. He will show you how to love your spouse. As your second reading says, it says, love is of God. Everyone who loves is begotten of God and knows God. So if you make it your goal to know God, he will teach you to love your spouse. What happens if you do not know God, for all of us, is, well, our reading tells us. And it says, whoever is without love does not know God, for God is love. So you can't have love if you're not attached to the loved. Love is God. We all have to make sure that we are attached. That means that love is always a choice. It's not a feeling, it is a choice. And it takes work on all of us. It will take work in your relationship to keep that alive, and it will take work in your relationship with God to keep that alive. So right here is love, right above us. The great hymn of this summons ends with the answer that you made to each other. And it does say, just like I said, Lord, your summons echoes true when you but call my name. Let me turn and follow you and never be the same. In your company I'll go, where your love and footsteps show. Thus I'll move and live and grow in you, and you in me. And so, if you are ready to unite yourselves to Christ in this marriage with the church, I will now invite your wedding party to come forward, and we will witness this great miracle.